before. No,
Hi, Carrie. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Are you hanging in there? That's the question.
Hanging in there. I was at training all week last week, so
Oh, wow.
ready to represent for chamber today. New hat. Different hat.
Great. Well, it's good to see you. Hey, Nina inquired about the library grant, and Megan had responded that we certainly, if you want to move that to 2025 and change your scope, I think we'd totally be in support of it.
Okay. I'm gonna talk to her more this afternoon.
Okay.
And see where we're gonna go with that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I know the other, but just a little blurb of what's up and what you're doing, and
Okay.
I think we could switch that over. You just need to use it by the end of 2025.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hi, Kara.
Hey.
How are you? Excellent. Here
Good.
you go.
Good to see you.
So good to see you. Thank you. What's everybody doing?
We're living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
Hello, John. Gretchen isn't able to make it. She had a last minute appointment. Would you be able to chair the meeting today?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Was that directed toward me? I was just turning my sound on.
I'm sorry, John. This is Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Gretchen had to, she had a last minute appointment made, so she's not going to be able to attend.
Okay.
Would you be able to chair the meeting?
Sure.
Okay,
Of course.
thank you.
So, okay.
Do you have the agenda up, John?
Yeah, I have it in front of me here.
Okay.
And I guess that means I better read the agenda a bit more quickly than I was planning on.
We can help you through it too.
Yeah, no, happy to, guys. No problem at all. So, okay. Well, if we're ready to get started, it is 1:01 now, so we'll call this to order, huh? Roll call.
Oh,
John Duncan present.
And I think you're the only one. Do we want to wait a moment?
unfortunately, we need to so that we can have a quorum.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's okay.
this is just a work session.
It's totally okay.
Let me see if I have Christina's cell number.
Hi, Anne Brown.
Hello, friends. How are you?
We're dandy.
I don't.
I'm jumping on just so I can share my
Yes.
presentation.
Please, we have so missed you.
I know,
Wasn't that funny how it was like, man, this is, we couldn't have planned that any better.
I know they were both, yeah.
Oh.
I'm not used to missing lodging tax panel meetings. I love seeing all my county friends.
Not in my contacts. I'm looking at her previous. What's Christina's last name?
Which was,
Dixon.
Sorry, say again.
Christina Dixon.
Oh, that's right. DIX or D?
Yep, DIX open. And I can look it up too.
I only have her email, not her phone.
Is that the abbydix@gmail.com?
I have telluridemoto@gmail.com.
I'm just
Yep,
gonna call,
that would be it.
I'm gonna call Telluride Moto real quick and see if I can get her.
Okay.
she was at the John Han
Check and see if I have her.
Gretchen's gone, and then Christina. Yeah. Otherwise, this will be a good work session.
Right.
Yes. Oh, I don't seem to have Christina's.
The phone number I have is a cell phone number for Mount Elbert, or Mount, Telluride Moto, sorry. But it went straight to message, which tells me she's on the other line. I'm gonna see if I can text to that number. You jump on the legend, it's even like right now, question mark.
Go ahead and start our updates if you wanted to. Carrie is on for Norwood and
Okay. So. Without a quorum, and so I texted Christina, we'll see. Without a quorum, this is not considered a regular meeting of the lodging tax panel. However, it could be a work session and, we just can't vote to take any official actions until such time as we have a quorum. So I will say, not that I'm suggesting this, but just food for thought. The statute provides that a minimum of 3 members be from the tourism industry within where the lodging tax funds are collected. However, it does not limit additional members, nor does it limit if there is somebody that may not be from the tourism industry that. But that's where you want to be cautious because you can also get pushback from those businesses if there is, an equal number or a greater number of folks that are not in the tourism industry. As we know that the state legislation that passed.
sorry.
You're good. The state legislation that passed last year allowed communities to go to the voters and request additional uses of lodging tax dollars. That's something that we at the Board of Commissioners discussed and decided to forego. But there are a lot of, not just to expand the amount of lodging tax, but to allow it for other uses such as road or law enforcement or firefighting, wildland firefighting. So those points aside, I'd say, why don't we hear from the folks that are here? And we will. I know a lot of our county staff, myself included, are excited to hear about how lodging is trending. I just might suggest that this is we don't want to take any official actions.
Mike, if I might jump in and suggest
Shoot.
that, I guess I should just ask in these situations, what is, we'll be rescheduling this meeting because we need to have the meeting here legally.
Right.
Um, on what type of time frame might we be able to do that? Because I would hate to have to ask everybody. I hate to do it all twice,
I don't.
you know.
It-
Um,
John, I think any of the items that we have to vote on can be pushed to the November or December meeting.
That's
okay,
correct. We did have it.
I think we
okay,
can
sure.
jot this down as a work session and highlight
Okay.
it in the minutes and that we
Okay,
didn't.
that's fine. That's great. I just
But-
didn't want to ask everybody that. I didn't want to ask,
Kira
Kira to
present.
come again
Kira,
next week to start from the
Yeah.
beginning. That's all.
For sure, yeah.
No.
Great.
And so we would just attach whatever documents they may share today, we'll attach those to the November meeting. And we'll vote to officially accept those at that point.
Okay.
But since Kira is here and Carrie's here, I would love to hear the information. I did hear back from Christina that she got called away at the last minute to work, and that she sends her regrets.
Okay, perfect.
And that cell phone number is that is a cell phone number for Telluride Moto, so just in case anybody wants to text her in the future. Okay,
Good,
so
thanks, Mike.
thank you. So I don't think you need to call this meeting to order because it's not going to be an official meeting.
Okay.
And I don't think we can approve the minutes from the June 16th. But I do think if we could jump into the updates of lodging tax reports, as well as hear from the chamber and the Telluride Tourism Board, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you.
So you should have all received an updated version of the second quarter of the revenue collections for Telluride Tourism Board and Norwood Chamber and Dolores School District. Unfortunately, Ramona is in budget meeting, so she was unable to attend this meeting, but wanted to just, R1 is pretty low right now, and with those adjustments that usually occur, we're hoping that those will come to fruition in the next few months, so.
I think too, that last year we had an adjustment, didn't we have funds from
Significant
the
one.
previous
Yes.
year that were put into 2024, which may be affecting
Yeah.
this?
That makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Yeah,
So I don't know if everybody remembers, but the legislature changed almost 10 years ago the reporting for short-term lodging revenue, such that it is not required to be done monthly. They allow remitters to send it quarterly or semi-annually or annually. So that has skewed our ability to track, except for on the full year basis, how we're doing compared from one year to the next. The other thing is, similar to sales tax, the auditing agency, should you feel that your collections are incorrect or our numbers are low, we can formally request the Department of Revenue to do an audit. But we cannot do it ourselves. They will not share that information of who's paying what, when directly with the counties. Okay.
Okay.
So we're low on almost 35% down on R1. R2 is a little bit higher. And I do agree and remember what Kira was just sharing about
Yeah,
the substantial adjustment that occurred last year that could be skewing our comparisons from 24 to 25. So I don't know if we want to just go ahead and jump into the chamber and the tourism board, whoever would like to go first.
I think so. I think so.
Carrie, would you like to kind of talk about what the chamber's doing right now?
Sure. So in September, we'll be wrapping up our final Fourth Friday film. Our August film And that is we do a film in the park on a 50-foot screen.
Hmm.
We had to cancel August because it was raining. So, and we meet tomorrow. So I'm not sure if we're going to show either The Princess Bride or Hook, because The Princess Bride was supposed to be last month and Hook's supposed to be this month, but and we
Oh,
are
show
in
the
middle-
Princess Bride.
Well, that's what we wanted to do, so I'll be disappointed if we don't, but I'm just one vote. So we are doing Pioneer Day. We partner with the Ute Study Club to do awards, and we pick judges for the parade. So we have several things that we're doing with that this month. So but our Fourth Friday film has grown. We didn't do one in July, we did one in May, and then it got bigger in June. And then we didn't do one in July because that's fair and rodeo and many things over here in Norwood. And then we got rained out in August. So that's where we're at. And then we start gearing up for Noel night, which is a huge event for us. So
When is your Noel night? Becky or Carrie?
December 5th.
December 5th. And then I apologize, I didn't realize about the movie series. Is that the Chambers putting that on?
Yes.
Okay,
We're 100% doing that ourselves. It's something new we tried this year. Talking with the people that do the movie in the park in Natarita and Nukla, it's been a great success for them. Next year, we're hoping to partner with some of the local nonprofits if somebody wants to provide food. We've just been offering snacks, sodas and water and chips, kind of snack, popcorn. We're partnering here with the library because we have the big screen and the popcorn machine. And so
so is it outdoors just to the south of the library?
it's outdoor and it is at Town Park.
Oh, Tom.
So as we're progressing, we're learning as we go. The library has a big blow up screen, but when it was windy, some of us had to do a few things. And so now we're just using the screen part and putting it against the wall at the back of Town Hall. The Town Hall employees have put up some hooks for us to put this big screen up so that we don't have to worry about the wind or our thing blowing over anymore. And yeah, and then we do it right there in Town Park.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Just out of curiosity, Carrie, is there any cross promotion with like Mountain Villages movies that are occurring?
Yeah.
I don't think we talked to anyone over there.
Okay.
I know I'm in close contact with Brock Benson, who puts on the Nukla Natarita's movie night. So
Gotcha.
I know
I'm just
we
thinking
promote
of-
each other's.
The large number of staff and employees and other folks that live in the West End and Nukla, Natarita, Norwood, that it seems like it might be cool. And if Mountain Village would be willing to cross promote those, that could be more people being knowledgeable of those.
That'd be great.
Cool.
Especially since we don't have a movie theater. in
I
the
know,
town, you
and we're
know,
not going to for a long
in a
time.
while, but yeah.
Just nice to get people outdoors. When the library did our grounds development, that was one thing that shone through, and we just hadn't been able to do anything with it. So it's been nice to partner Chamber and the library to partner for these movies and offer something for families and just getting together outside to do some activities.
Nice.
Excellent, thank you. Do you want to jump to Kira, John?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right, and Carrie, I vote Princess
Carrie?
Bride as well. Get that
As
in
you
there.
wish.
You can't vote at this meeting, remember?
Share some. Okay. And apologies, I have a board meeting this week, so this deck is a bit robust, but I can go through it pretty quickly. Just have a lot of updates to share since it's been a little while since I've seen you all, so. I'll just be jumping into international, a little bit of marketing, lodging metrics, as well as some other news. And first, just wanted to update the group. Tommy and I just got back from a really productive, successful trip in Mexico City. And this was a CTO grant funded project. It was their marketing matching grant. And we used those funds for a exclusive Telluride Mountain Village travel, trade, and media mission. We had 5 lodging properties come with us. So typically Tom goes down there with the Colorado Tourism Office and goes down with a lot of other destinations. And this was our opportunity to go down just as our own destination. We were really happy with the participation we had from the lodging properties, and we had a really busy couple days. We were training travel agents. We had an event at the end of the 2-day. We were Tuesday, Wednesday, just going day and night. But it was really successful, and our main messaging was that Telluride, Mountain Village, the county, our destination loves Mexico. We are inviting our friends in Mexico to visit with us with open arms. Just with everything going on in the country right now, we want Telluride, our destination, to continue to be top of mind. So here is a reel from last week. The ad agency we're working with in Mexico City, that they put together a ton of reels, so I just pulled that from what they did. But again, it was a successful trip, and we're really looking forward to seeing some more business out of Mexico City. We did a raffle at the VIP event we had top tier like owners and upper management from these travel trade organizations come and raffled off all the lodging properties, raffled off stays, like 3-day stays. So
Wow.
yeah, so hopefully they'll come see us, spread the word to their clients. We're competing, typically the families in Mexico City go to Vail and Aspen.
Oh.
What we're hearing is they're ready for something new. And if we can get a few families, as we already have, they tend to travel together, and it's a lot of word of mouth as well. So, we really feel like there's a huge opportunity there.
And can I assume that's winter oriented travel?
Winter, yes. And we have, so United announced winter service from Mexico City to Denver starting at the end of October for the winter season.
Huh.
So that's also really beneficial for us because we'll have that access. And we really talked a lot about access because Vail, you're on I-70 for a long time and you fly into Denver. So traveling here is a lot more seamless and easy, which I think is it's hard.
That's something we say every day.
We do, we say it a lot. And then in addition to that, part of this grant, we included an advertising, I shouldn't say just digital because it also includes print, but we have a marketing campaign that we're running to complement this travel, trade, and media mission. So we have some really nice premium placements in the Mexican market, both digital and some editorial. We actually on the right here, you'll see this issue of Food and Wine magazine, where we have a really nice editorial piece.
Wow.
They gave us that hard copy when we were out there. All right, any questions about that mission or international efforts before I jump into just some marketing.
Well, maybe this is what we're gonna dive into, but I'm curious if there's any change in the target market, both demographically, socioeconomically, and then also seasonally.
In general or internationally?
In general.
In general, we
Because
haven't,
and the reason I ask is I
Yeah.
see a continued shift, whether it's through the types of lodging that's available or the restaurants that are
Mhm.
changing and going from more, not mom and pop, but more normal to higher end. I see everything
Yeah.
shifting to higher end, and I'm curious if our marketing is also shifting to higher end as well, or are these folks following a trend that they're seeing from the tourism that is coming already and saying, okay, we need to, like, the high pies to the grand is,
yeah,
one that pops into my head, and like, what did they see that, or are they talking to you as the tourism board and saying, hey, the Sheraton or whatever the business or the hotel is, we're going to revamp to try and meet this market segment that we think is coming or that we're missing out on?
we haven't shifted our targets. Really what we've used to target is past guest data, which happens to be high end. So we really are, targeting that market, but we also retarget, right? So if somebody that isn't, in the upper, segment,
Mhm.
we're still marketing to them, right? If they're interested, they'll get a retargeting ad from us. So my answer would be, we're still marketing all demographics, targeting really the people who, can afford. And I also wanted to mention that, in terms of the uncertain economy that we're in right now, that luxury segment, they're saying is somewhat insulated. So, that's also something that we need to keep in mind as we're marketing and targeting. And as everything that could change, but at the moment, that segment is insulated. So, yeah, I mean, we focus on, again, it's the past guests. So I don't think much has changed, in terms of that, over, the past few years, even pre-COVID. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so just our summer, I think you've all seen our summer campaign, that launched early May and ended the middle of August. And we are still going with our Beyond It All campaign theme, really bringing in more of a surreal, really just more magical elements to our creative, really to just differentiate our destination in the marketplace. When you see a lot of ads in the summer, you see blue skies and a lot of greenery. Winter, you see a lot of powder skiing and just a lot of the same color schemes. And we really wanted to break that up and get people to recognize our advertising. This is the video. All right. So performance-wise, we saw really strong performance, delivered over 17 million impressions with a click-through rate of 1.17%, which is well above last year's year-over-year comparison and above the industry benchmark of 0.1%. We also did some custom partnership marketing, e-blasts and social, as well as articles with Afar magazine. And those produced very well for us as well.
Kira, may I go back to that slide just for a moment?
Yeah.
This, if I'm reading this correctly, impressions are down 18% year on year. Could you explain that a little more?
Yeah, no, good question. Thank you for asking, John. So we changed our strategy a bit. Last summer, we definitely focused more on getting impressions out there Whereas this summer, we focus more on engagement. And really targeting the right people that are going to click through. So we just had different goals set up with the campaign, which is what you see there in those metrics. So that was a great question.
Thank you.
And then we also have winter. We are currently working on our winter campaign. So we will be launching early this year. We've actually already launched on social because our competitors started marketing, the ski resort started marketing in August. I was getting, Facebook ads that I took screenshots of, and there were marketing deals. So we did resume our social ads, and then we have our campaign launching in the middle of September. These are our concepts. So again, we're moving forward with that Beyond It All campaign. And then we did a creative refresh on it for winter. So here are just some of the concepts. Slide into Magic, see the surreal.
Oh, that's cool.
That's my son, my husband.
That's awesome.
We have Push into Perfection, Dip into Unreal, Powder Day Dreams, Lift Your Expectations, and Powder Dreaming. So this is how some of these executions will look in a digital banner. And then we also secured a full page inside back cover ad in the November issue of Condé Nast Traveler, which we're really excited about. So this is the Reader's Choice Awards issue. If you can all remember, the ski resort was #1 in that issue for a number of years, pre-COVID. So we're happy to get back in here, and then we have a digital buy that complements that as well, with articles in Condé Nast, high impact units, as well as display advertising on their network. I included some of those titles here: Allure Architectural Digest, GQ, The New Yorker, Vogue, Wired, Vanity Fair. All right, any questions before I dive into the lodging metrics?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
I'm curious about in communication with the leadership at TSG.
Mm-hmm.
Two things that occurred to me. One is the shortness of our season,
Mm-hmm.
because essentially we're from Christmas to end of spring break, which is like late March.
Yeah.
And it seems like obviously everybody would like, or not everybody, but a lot of folks would like to expand those seasons and have something more robust by Thanksgiving than the 1 or 2 white ribbons of death.
Yeah.
And then also the skiers' decision not to open any trails down into Telluride until Christmas.
Yeah.
And then last year they did not open access from the gondola on the trail. I'm blanking on the name of it. So you had to walk up a quarter of a mile, which for a flatland tourist is a Herculean effort.
Yeah.
So I was curious if there's been any conversation about either allowing direct ski access from San Sofia at an earlier date, and or any skier connection down into Telluride, because I would imagine that that's not a positive thing when they have to get back on the gondola to go back down into Telluride.
Right. Not the best guest experience.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So the ski resort we did receive a press release, and we're putting some of this information in the winter visitor guide, but they are increasing their snowmaking efforts. So I know that. I did hear that they were planning on having more open for Thanksgiving.
Great.
I think that Chuck said that directly not to me, but I did hear that he said that.
Good.
I can't really speak to, that would definitely be more of a question for their operations team, but I agree. And something to bring up, we have our merchant call tomorrow. And usually somebody from the ski resort's on, but yeah, it would be a good thing, to bring up there. So, Yeah, no, all good points.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, we can do our best to get people here, but when they arrive, we need to show them the best possible experience.
Right, and when I think of the information from sitting in these meetings for the past 5, 6 years. Of the amount of the average spend. And I think of, man, if I was from Texas or Florida or even California. And I had to walk out,
Mhm.
and I'm at elevation and like. This isn't the wrong place to have a heart attack.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Our medical infrastructure is not set up for that. So I think of that part of it, and then having to be in the gondola. All the way down to Mountain Village to get on a lift, all the way back to get back to lodging and Telluride or dinner or whatever.
Right.
I just think that there's a missing piece of the visitor experience there.
Mhm. Yeah, very good point.
And you had something?
Yes, I do. Kira or anyone else in the room, have we confirmed the date of the mountain will open this year?
They have confirmed that it will be Thanksgiving. So, which is great because last year we weren't quite sure what was going to happen. However, I think that is weather dependent. Again, they're saying that they will, they have increased their snowmaking. And it seems that they're pretty certain they'll open, but if it's warm, if it's too warm, snowmaking doesn't really matter, right? So we'll see, but that is the plan, Anne, is that it looks like they're scheduled for that Thanksgiving opening.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. All right, any more questions before I get into the fun lodging metrics? All right, so we'll just quickly look at the summer season. So we are pretty flat to last summer. And I know there's been different news out there about different Colorado resorts. But I think we're lining with the other resorts or mountain destinations right now, from what I can see. Most are, about flat to a little bit down. So our destination occupancy, total occupancy is down 1%, but paid occupancy is up 1%. Average daily rate has decreased by 2%. Therefore, revenue per available room has decreased by 2%.
What is our ADR again?
So the average daily rate is it's $477 for summer
Okay,
for the destination, down from $487 last
Thank you.
summer, yeah. And then when we look at the monthly, we see that summer was off to a slow start. We were flat to down from May through July.
Oh.
And then we saw, just a bit of an increase from August, and then we're pacing ahead through head to flat through October. So May was down, and this, just note that this is May 22nd. Is when I pull these metrics from, so they're not really big numbers, but May was down 8%. June was about flat, just down 0.5%. July we saw was down 4%. August it had 3%, and I'll show you in a minute the Camp Alderwild metrics because I think they really contributed to that bump in August. September is pacing 1% ahead, and October is currently flat. So we were pacing ahead. We've lost a little traction over the past few weeks in October. Camp Alderwild. So this was great to see. Our occupancy, when we look at year over year, and I know the event didn't happen last year, but I did compare this, 2025, this weekend to the same weekend in 2024.
what is Outerwild?
Oh, that was the EDM concert.
Of the trees?
Yeah, of the trees, yeah. I know there's so many.
What was it called?
Camp Alderwild.
Camp Outerwild?
There are a lot of different names for
Okay,
it. So,
I've
yeah.
never heard that one. I've only heard of the trees, EDM.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
the EDM show.
Gotcha.
So we see that total occupancy, so that's paid and owner, increased by 18%.
Huh.
Year over year, paid occupancy increased by 25%. Average daily rate was actually down 5%. And RevPAR, because that occupancy was increased so much, was up 19%. And then these are just the dailies here that show you. It looks like that this was Thursday. Ooh, sorry. Thursday, it was the 21st, Friday was the busiest, which makes sense. And then when we look at film, excuse me, and Blues and Brews, we see film was just down slightly. It was definitely a little farther behind, a few weeks before, so I think we had some last minute bookings that weekend. But we see we're down 2% in both total and paid occupancy, but ADR was up 5%, resulting in a 4% increase in RevPAR. And then Blues and Brews were pacing behind. Again, though, we have picked up the pace a bit over the past couple of weeks. We were a little farther behind last month, but now we're seeing that we're down 7% to total occupancy and 9% paid occupancy. ADR is down 5%, so we're looking at a decrease of RevPAR by 17% if we continue on this pace.
And what happened with Bluegrass this year?
Bluegrass was actually okay. It was like about flat to slightly down from last year.
Eric, may I
Yeah,
ask for your interpretation on these booking trends a little bit?
yep,
In your June report, you and granted there's an asterisk by this because this is just early booking trends, but in your June report, the month of June was projecting flat. The month of July was projecting 4% up. The month of August was projecting 9% up. In September and October, although well out from mid-June, were projecting in double digits up. So here we are, it's all settled 3 months later, and we weren't up. We weren't up in any of those months. We're down. We're down or flat. Does that reflect a change, an unexpected and somewhat dramatic change in booking patterns, in your opinion, or is there something? Am I just putting too much weight potentially on early booking trend numbers? In fact, for us, the only I would concur with our numbers at our business are basically flat for the entire year. Interestingly enough, the number of transactions per day, which I think is a pretty good barometer of, I mean, we're, center Main Street business. We sell a lot of hats and t-shirts, pretty good barometer of street traffic. Our number of transactions for the summer is down about 5%. And to me, that, our product mix is pretty similar. You could put that under the microscope, I suppose. But my first take on that means, oh, there are 5% less people here. What is your take on all that? And, do you think that is there anything from what you're seeing or feeling that might lead us to be cautious going into wintertime?
Oh, I think we should definitely be cautious. It's funny, I have, for my board meeting, my first slide is, travel trends, and it's cautiously optimistic is the theme, right? Last, board meeting's theme was the uncertainty economy. So I think right now everything's uncertain and we should absolutely be cautious. And I'm gonna get to winter in a moment, but yeah, the pace is tough, John, because, my last report, from early June. So, it could be like what we're seeing for winter is a month or two ago, things were looking super strong. And I think that's because we had group bookings, right, in place that may not have been there last year at this time. And we're looking for FIT to leisure to fill that in, right? So that could have been the case for summer, maybe weddings, right? Weddings book ahead of time. So we could have had a certain number of weddings on the books that were reflected in that forecast. But then, when the bookings, when we had the hard bookings, we didn't have as many leisure possibly. So yeah, it's a lot of things. And then I think when we look out to like in June, when we look all the way out to September and October, those numbers are really small. So the percentages tend to be a lot higher, which we'll see in a minute with the winter as well. Like I've always very cautious to make anything make a prediction basically or solidify anything until those bookings actually become actual.
John, can I ask you, even if your transactions were 5 down, what is revenue wise? Were they buying the same
Yeah.
cost?
Very good question. Revenue is dead flat.
Huh. So even though they
Dead
were
flat.
5% less, they were spending a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while our product mix that we offered was essentially the same, um, um, I think if I looked at the numbers carefully, we would show an increase in the sales of hard goods, and a decrease in the sale of soft goods. So a decrease in the sale of t-shirts and an increase in the sale of fly rods. There is an important online component for us as well there, so I'd have to break that out. Online retail for us is a very large percentage, and the reason for that is because it consists mostly of hard goods. But it's a large percentage, like close to half of our retail business. So, but we have a diverse set of offerings, right? We have a lot of different kinds of products in our store, and we also do have online retail, and then we have 4 summer guide services. So all in all, dead flat to within less than a half percentage
Thank you.
for revenue.
It's a
Yeah,
little
that reflects
surprising
it
to
too.
me,
So.
given what a good summer weather it was. We didn't have much.
Yeah, it's funny. The ironic thing about a drought is that it's nice weather for every day of people's vacations here.
Right.
And it's really true. There's no question that when heavy weather rolls in here, we take. I mean, we're running Jeep tours and things, so of course we take some cancellations, and people who don't book and things. So in the big picture, we really need that tough weather. I mean, how much rain do we get in August this year? August is our highest precipitation month of the year empirically. We average 8.5 inches of rain in August here. Think about how important that water is. We think of ourselves as a dry part of the world. 8.5 inches of water is a ton. And, what did we get this year? I don't know what the number was. Definitely less than 1 inch. So that's good weather for people's vacation every day. But actually, to your point, Mike, there are, we usually raise prices by approximately CPI.
Okay.
Every year. So if we sold the same number of fishing trips, same number of people this year as last year, then we would make 3 or 4 or 5% more money. So that's kind of filling in some of that headroom there. That said, we probably must have had fewer weather cancellations or fewer weather non-bookings this summer than in any summer. I mean, surely this is going to go down as the driest summer on record. I would expect it would if it ended today. So, yes, to your point, in spite of ideal conditions for booking guide service trips and for people walking around on Main Street buying t-shirts, our revenue is dead flat. And this is not a disaster considering I think a lot, I've heard it said among business owners several times recently on Main Street, like, hey, I'm 8% down and I'll kind of take that this summer. And I think it's because of all of our backdrop observations about what's going on in this world. Yeah, and all that's super real. I was curious, particularly because I remember in Kira's last report at that time, and she was very cautious about how she presented that. She said, remember, as she was talking about August and September and October, she specifically said, hey, that's a long way off, so don't put too much weight on this. But in fact, the trend changed dramatically. Every month of the summer was projecting up solidly, and none finished up. And my question is, why?
Yeah, I think, again, I think with forecasts, you just have, we look at it directionally and as a guide, but we can't, and yes, we hope, I always say, gosh, I hope that we can continue on this trajectory. But, there are different elements that can factor into it. And so, like I said, group, it could potentially be the booking window, John, maybe some, people did book it in advance, when we're looking at revenue, RevPAR, things like that. Maybe some of the larger units were being booked. So there's a lot of different factors that kind of play into it. But always something I think to note when we're looking at the forecast, and that's why, especially winter, because the fact, and I've said this before, like tourism board, we're the only ones marketing the destination, right? The ski resort is not doing that. And we're competing with destinations whose ski resorts are fully marketing, right? So, and they have a huge marketing budget. So,
Sure.
it's something that when we're ahead, I'm super cautious about it, just because, they turn on that marketing before we do, they could steal some of those bookings. So that's something that we do have our finger on the pulse, of. And yeah, definitely interesting trends to look at, because last winter, when I look ahead, we were pacing super far ahead, farther than we are now, and then we lost that traction, and I think that was due to the weather. We had lack of snow in the beginning of the season, and to Anne's point, the ski resort, it was delayed in opening, and whether or not people are going to come, that's PR, right? And that's negative PR for us, in terms of winter vacation planning. So, you think about the fires here, we were really careful to not be amplifying the fire message from the tourism board. But if people, when we were having fire or smoke in the area this summer, could that have deterred some people? We just don't, I think we could probably anecdotally say a lot of different things. But yeah, I just think that there's no one answer to it.
If I may ask you if you're comfortable speaking a little bit more on this, why do you think Telluride is flat? And what do you think, in the big picture, the 2 or 3 biggest challenges are that we're facing? I mean, I can think of some that are awkward to talk about. Everything from our ski company's leadership to global warming, difficult subjects.
Yeah,
What do you think? What do you, I mean, you have as good of a perspective on this and as much information intake as anybody in this whole community. What's the back office conversation about this? What do you think?
Well, I think that we have to also look at the fact that we are other mountain destinations are pacing similar to how we are. So we're not an anomaly right now. We're not seeing that, Vail, that Aspen are tracking super far ahead, and that we're not. So I think that we need to keep that in mind. And then also, I always like to, like for my board meeting, I always like to look back at pre-COVID, 2019 numbers and see how far we've come. Again, I certainly don't wanna look back, we need to move ahead, and, I wouldn't wanna go back to those numbers, but I think that always puts things into perspective for us too, to see that, we're doing okay. The fact that we're flat, I think it's an uncertain economy is it's not bad right now, right? But we need to make sure that we stay, we are consistent and can, look at moving the needle up, right? Especially since we're not sure what's gonna happen with the economy. So I don't know, I think that what I said earlier about the marketing could impact us hugely, we need to continue to be out there, international marketing, international visitation is going to go down, for obvious reasons. I think right now in the US it's down 1.5%, and they're projecting it to be a lot more by the end of the year. A lot of that's coming out of Canada, which that's not a huge market for us. We're also like, I think, in a good position when we compare ourselves to Aspen or Vail, because they do rely so heavily on international and we don't as much. So, although we still need to be in those markets like we were down in Mexico City, and hope that they continue to come. We're not, Aspen's probably gonna lose 10% of their business because of international this winter. So don't quote me on that, I'm just throwing that number out there. But I think we have, there's some opportunities for us, I think, but yeah, marketing, I think is a big one, John. I'm not sure if what were you saying? What was your question? What was your initial question? You said 3 things that I think are leading to this. Yeah, again, I think marketing could could impact, if we stop marketing, obviously that would have a negative impact on our occupancy. But I also think that we just need to look at the different KPIs in the state and in the country and realize that we're doing okay right now. So, sorry,
Kira?
One last
I
question,
feel
I'll
like
let
I
you go.
babbled a little bit, but
No, but I have one last question for you, and there's do you have an idea of what percentage of our winter and summer business is international?
very small. I don't have an exact number because we used to get, in the winter, we used to get that from the ski resort. But because they're not selling individual pass products, they're doing like Epic Pass, they can't get us that information. So we used to be able to say like, okay, this percentage of people, but no, I think it's about 1%, 1 to 3%, is the number that I've received from the CTO, which would make, sense for us, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. I hope
Thank
that I
you. Thank
gave
you
you
very
some.
much.
Always feel free to call me offline too, if you wanna chat further about any of this. I hope that I was able to, give you some direction there.
Kira?
Thank you very much, Karen.
Yeah,
Kira, can you just repeat for me what you said? Was it international tourism is down 1.5% this year?
yeah, let me do this and, let me pull up. Hold on just a moment. My board meeting deck. So overseas travel, and this is in the US, is down 1.6% year to date in the US with a 8.2% decline forecasted for 2025.
So we're only down 1.6, but they think it'll increase to being down 8.2%.
Yeah, that's what it looks like they're forecasting, from one of the sources that I pull from.
Okay, and this is calendar year 2025?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And again, that would just be a forecast there.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think too, to note, a lot of that is Canadian. So I think they were saying like 25% of that would be Canadian business. Which isn't, one of our primary markets, so I just wanna note that too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
I apologize, I'm gonna have to run for another meeting in
Oh,
just a sec, but
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you, thanks, Mike.
Pleasure.
And I'm almost done here, guys. You can see my screen now again, okay, perfect. Okay, winter, really quick, we'll walk through this. We are pacing ahead, 8% total occupancy, 4% in paid occupancy. ADR is pacing behind for winter, by 7%. And resulting in a 4% decrease in RevPAR. Again, we've lost traction over the past couple of weeks, and this happened to us last year as well. So again, and I talked to Matt, and he said same thing with the flights he's seen in the past couple of weeks. We were pacing, far ahead, and now we're not behind, but we're not significantly ahead. So just something to note. And that changes, next week we could be looking very strong again. So, a lot of things I think factor into this here. And then monthly, when we look at the monthlies, December is pacing 15% ahead. We do have, I think, some small groups on the books that we didn't have last year. In January, we have Florida Ski Council coming in, which is, I think, contributing to that 6% increase. February, 9% ahead. And then this is what we were talking about with the small numbers. We see that April is 34% ahead, and that's because Easter falls on that weekend, I think closing weekend. So that's really shifting those numbers for us, whereas last year we did not have that. And then Semana Santa as well. So we're hoping that we can see some of our friends from Mexico come in that week too, although that's a 2-week holiday. We had that discussion when we were down there. And the second week is the second week of April, so. All right, any questions on lodging metrics? I just want to be respectful of everyone's time here. It's 1:58. I just wanted to share quickly, our 2026 calendar is on stands for sale. Proceeds go to the Mountain Club's Option for Trails program. And this year we're featuring a number of different local photographers, so we're excited to get this out. And then we're working on the visitor guide, and that will be on stands for Thanksgiving. That's all I have.
Well, thanks as always, Kira. Very in-depth and insightful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the great questions. And like I said, John, if you want to discuss anything further, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Bye, Mike. Bye. Thank you.
Well, that might wrap it up for today, eh? This is a work session after all, not a meeting.
Yeah. Do you
Jen-
guys want to look at maybe a late fall meeting? Before kind of the holidays hit?
That would be
Early
fine. That'd be fine with me.
December?
You know, the first, actually early December's tough for me. Wondering if late November could potentially work. Maybe before Thanksgiving or near Thanksgiving.
We could do it on the 17th or the 24th. When is Thanksgiving this year? Thanksgiving.
It's the
The
27th.
27th.
Okay, so we could do it either the 17th or the 24th.
Either would be fine with me.
Me too.
Yeah.
17th, does that work
Okay.
for you? Okay, let's do November 17th, and if we get a lot of nays, we can come back and I'll send that to everyone.
Great.
And 1 o'clock?
Yeah, that's fine.
All righty, perfect. Well, we got a lot done.
Great. Well, once again, thank you. Thank you, particularly Kira, for such a detailed presentation there. That's really great. And Carrie
Yeah.
as well. Good to hear about the good stuff going on down in Norwood. I really think that the outdoor movie series is a great idea. You know, we've had such traction up here with our outdoor concert series, and that just seems like a real natural in our the environment we have here in Colorado for, whether these are events that are targeting visitors or just community members. They all lead to a richer community, and that was a really good idea.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Well, then we'll see you in November.
Okay, friends.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Bye now.